Let's start part 2 of Manifestation Magic, Master Your Mind and Road to Success. Lesson 4: The Subconscious Mind and Self-Programming Strategies. A good metaphor is that the human mind is like a computer program. It takes in input from a variety of sources and generates output. But we are not really aware of all that we are taking in subconsciously. Most of our activity is actually governed by the subconscious as opposed to the conscious mind. According to Earl Nightingale, whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. The subconscious mind, our subconscious rules our behavior. This is a scientific fact as well as a phenomenon documented by psychologists Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud. It has also been mentioned in ancient texts such as the Vedas and by spiritual scholars throughout the ages. We need to create strategies to reprogram our subconscious in ways that are more beneficial to our well-being. Our subconscious minds have picked up various tendencies from birth that are still with us today. We are also under attack, literally, with advertising that bombards our senses nearly 24/7. This includes online, where we are spending most of our lives, as well as in the physical environment, where we see billboards and items for sale in shops. We need to be very careful about what we ingest mentally, physically, and emotionally. One of the best ways to reprogram our subconscious is by using affirmations. Affirmations. Affirmations are an effective tool to program ourselves for personal and business success. Remember when affirming to use the present tense. I am talented or I am rich is better than I will be talented or I am going to be rich. Another point to keep in mind is that affirmations work best when the mind is in a receptive state. So affirmations should really be used first thing in the morning or late at night. Another time to repeat your affirmations is during meditation when they can really sink in without resistance. Affirmations work, but they have to be repeated over and over to really so our subconscious can really get the message loud and clear. For maximum results, they need to be stated internally or out loud during meditation or in the waking or nighttime hours. It should also be borne in mind that some people have incredibly deep convictions with regard to love, money, or sexuality. At a fundamental level, an individual might not believe that they are unworthy of love or affection. In such instances, affirmations may not work and diet, self-examination, yoga and meditation might all be needed to really shake up the person's mindset into a positive state. There have been cases where therapists hypnotized patients into a positive belief with their consent. After a while, the underlying negative belief re-emerged. This suggests that the belief is either well-rooted or that it comes from somewhere deeper than the subconscious mind. Either way, combine affirmations with meditation for best results, as they do work to a large degree. If you can make your affirmations into a poem that rhymes, then your subconscious will repeat it consistently, much like how a song gets stuck in your head. This is the best procedure you can do if you have identified a limiting belief and want to get rid of it. Where possible, try to feel the affirmation as a positive emotion. This will supercharge it with energy and help it to manifest. You might want to take an online test to see where you have limiting beliefs. They may be around self-love, relationships, money, abundance, or happiness. In this instance, you can try to create several affirmations using different terms and tenses to navigate around this sticky belief more rapidly. For example, I am rich. I have always been rich. Riches are waiting for me. I love being so financially abundant. People see me as very affluent. I have so many sources of income. I always have enough money. Money is a mental abstraction and I can just think more of it. Because money is so common, it is easy to collect some. I love thinking about and making money. Money was always easy for me to attract. Poverty and abundance are just states of mind. With affirmations, it is better in general to use the present tense and to avoid negating statements such as, I am not in poverty. Just like the brain cannot distinguish between real and imaginary, it also does not understand negation. All it hears is poverty. Self-programming strategies. There are other strategies you can use to program your mind. Remember that the time you are just waking and the time that you are settling down to sleep are the best times for self-programming. Meditation is another key time. But you still need to utilize the rest of the day as much as possible to put yourself into a positive state of mind. If you have a desk job, then you are stuck on a computer for 8 hours a day. You might as well make the most of it. Listen to classical music for a couple of hours a day. Binaural beats and theta brainwave entrainment tracks are available on YouTube and on other sites. Alternatively, record yourself saying empowering affirmations and listen to it for an hour. Subconsciously, the statements, I am rich, I am attractive, I am intelligent, are going to sink in and start to manifest in your everyday life. You could also consider lucid dreaming or seeing a therapist as a means of accessing the subconscious. There are a large number of self-programming strategies available. Just pick one or two and stick with them for a consistent length of time. Remember, self-programming consists of two parts. The first is what you program yourself with. The second is what you are able to block out. You might be telling yourself how attractive you are, but other people and the world might like to tell you otherwise. Create a clean work and personal environment and get rid of people who drain your energy. Also, limit time spent on social media and time spent exposed to advertisements of all kinds. Lesson 5: Law of Attraction v Shadow Work. There are two major streams of thought within the psychology and spiritual sectors. People who follow the law of attraction believe that what you think gathers momentum over time and attracts more positive thoughts. If we can tune our vibration towards things that make us happy, then this momentum will increase and being happy will become easier and easier. But there are others who make an equally effective argument. Every person has a shadow side that is repressed by modern society. If this shadow side is not scrutinized and allowed to express itself, then it will continue to lurk in our subconscious, sabotaging our happiness. Whatever is within us needs to be processed and expressed in some way. It is a commonly accepted scientific principle that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be transmuted. A deeper look into the shadow. Shadow psychology was first popularized by the eminent Professor Carl Jung. The shadow is the unconscious aspect of ourselves that we cannot consciously identify with. There are actually positive aspects of the shadow side. People pleasers need to start identifying with their anger and start telling people to get lost, in no uncertain terms. But because they were brought up in such a way as to respect others and be good, they find it difficult to consciously understand that saying no to people can be immensely organic, satisfying, and natural. Instead, they take on more work than they should and end up stressed, believing that sabotaging their mental and emotional well-being is somehow a positive thing. Generally, however, the shadow exhibits negative tendencies. It contains deep fears and insecurities. It then projects these fears and insecurities onto other people. Often, people will project their own negative tendencies onto others to deal with their own pain. It is the next best thing to being able to confront it within themselves, which is far more difficult. For Jung, the best way to explore the shadow side was through dream work and symbolic analysis. The shadow was referred to as the unconscious in the works of both Sigmund Freud and Friedrich Nietzsche. The concept of shadow self has become much more popular in recent times due to the prior dominance of the law of attraction. More people than ever are involved in dream work and self-assessment questionnaires to dissolve shadow tendencies and bring the shadow self to the forefront of the conscious mind. The law of attraction. The law of attraction was first popularized by Jerry and Esther Hicks in the 2006 movie, The Secret. They stated to be channeling a non-physical entity known as Abraham. Jerry Hicks passed away from cancer in 2011, leading many to question the authenticity of the movement. Yet Esther Hicks is still very much active and has a massive following. Additionally, the law of attraction is demonstrated or alluded to in many historical societies and spiritual texts. It is not the sole domain of the Hicks, though they are the ones who have brought it to the public awareness in a 21st century context. The law of attraction makes perfect sense and does more to explain why some people are successful and others are not more than anything else. But the complete set of teachings add so much more and delve into complex situations that extend far beyond focusing on positive thoughts. Additionally, it places a new emphasis on desires and emotions. These were viewed as dirty from an Eastern spiritual perspective, where we gain much of our esoteric information from. Such distortions have convinced people that desires and emotions are somehow evil, though nothing could be further from the truth. Moreover, too much emphasis has been placed on mental thoughts, when it is the emotional vibrations that are what gives the strength to the manifestation. The law of attraction is based on feelings as opposed to thoughts, which is a completely new paradigm. Which one should I do? The good news is that there is no need for discrimination. Shadow work and a positive mindset can both easily be applied together. There is no need to side with one group against the other. This is both pointless and counterproductive. Instead, embrace the best of both worlds. You might find that doing positivity work brings up hidden shadows and that focusing on understanding the shadow works to increase your levels of positivity. A good compromise could be to do both shadow work and keep a positive psychology, but try to focus more on a positive psychology. It also helps to notice that there is a difference between ignoring something and focusing on the positive side of things. So meet your difficulties head on and face them up front. At the same time, try to look to the future and be optimistic about what it has in store for you. Don't avoid the past and your inner demons, as this has been identified as the number one impediment to future growth and development. Emotional avoidance is also the leading cause of unhappiness according to some experts in the field of psychology. It can be a tough line to balance between the two. But to develop a really healthy mindset, you have to focus on both. Lesson 6: Creativity and Imagination as Tools for Development. The sheer power of imagination has not been given its due in either religion, science, or spirituality. All of these seek to give the student a system of mode of operation with regard to how to live and behave. But creativity and imagination are in a league of their own and are uniquely individual practices. There is no system or structure to imagination or creative work. How does the imagination work? It can be a little difficult to describe exactly what imagination is and how it works. But it bears resemblance to meditation in terms of dissolving issues and finding solutions. Because when using the imagination, the individual is in an altered state of consciousness. There is no way to compose wonderful poetry or a breathtaking painting when the logical side of the brain is activated. Because the logical side of the brain wants to understand why each piece is placed in a certain way and wants to work sequentially in ABC fashion. This is not how creativity works, which experiments and sees how things play out without paying attention to standard rationality. It is the imagination, not logical processes, that is responsible for most human achievements. Steve Jobs used his imagination to create an entirely new product range that had never been seen before. Tesla is doing the same with his SpaceX and electric car projects. These are completely new paradigms. And consider that the best and most notable geniuses may not have even gone to school. According to Edward Bach, after he finished his studies, it will take me 5 years to forget all I have been taught. Einstein has no faith in school and famously stated that logic will get you from A to B, imagination will get you anywhere. The imagination is an amazingly powerful tool when you deploy it correctly, and it can generate a large number of healing benefits. This is another argument for the law of attraction proponents. Logically, you might find that you have an unresolved issue that you need to troubleshoot. But if you are highly imaginative and channel this in the right direction towards a core passion, your issues will dissolve without further investigation. Additionally, some creative proponents assert that the imagination is a way of bringing the subconscious to the conscious. In this way, you can paint a painting or symbol about an issue that you cannot consciously identify with. You might not understand why you feel good after doing a certain piece of creative work, but it could be because it touches on inner issues that cannot be consciously analyzed or discussed. The way that the subconscious communicates is in images and metaphors, not in logic or text. This is what children often do when they play and paint. Either way, extensive use of creativity and the imagination can do wonders for self-development and mental strength. How do I use my imagination? It can be hard to create a system or structure with regard to the imagination because by its very nature it does not conform to structures or anything approaching rational principles. The best thing that you can do is to really commit yourself to a creative process and watch the magic unfold. One of the best strategies is to A. Create 100 paintings in a month. B. Write 1,000 creative words each day for a month. C. Try to visualize yourself in a desired setting at intensity for 10 minutes each day. However, it is almost amazingly difficult to get people to do these simple tasks. This is because people always want to know why and reach a rational goal. But these processes will shake up your mind and open up your creative consciousness. You will gain insights from your paintings or writings along the way. In fact, you will get better results if you do not have a goal in mind with these writings, paintings, visualizations, such as a monetary reward. If you can do something like this, the benefits will be huge. As an additional piece of advice, you don't have to learn how to paint in any way or even how to write or visualize the correct way. These are your creative works. Just do them and reap the benefits of your own imagination. Creative wealth manifestation tricks. There are some creative strategies that you can deploy in order to trick your brain into an abundance mindset. In many ways, you can treat it like a game. The brain is used to generating worry and fear at all times in relation to money. You need to try and get around this ingrained tendency by pretending to be wealthy. The brain does not have the capacity to distinguish between real and imaginary phenomena, as demonstrated by recent scientific studies. Consider what happens when you think about your favorite food. Your body actually starts responding biologically. Your stomach will start to grumble and you might even start salivating, despite no physical food being present. The more you think about food, the hungrier your body becomes. Likewise, the universe does not differentiate between real and imaginary, so you can use creative practices to trick yourself into thinking thoughts of wealth. Trick 1. Carry cash at all times. Where possible, make sure that your wallet is full of cash. It is better to have it on you physically. In the same vein, remember to tip 20% at all times. Both of these techniques have two significant effects. The first is that you will get into the mindset of someone wealthy, as you will be used to constantly having enough cash and always tipping well. The second is that other people actually view you as wealthy and start manifesting for you. They are also used to seeing you having money and being rich and associate your persona with wealth. Trick 2. Hang out with the rich. People who are rich, i.e. an abundance mindset, are used to having wealth at all times. They don't think about poverty or bills at all. If you can affiliate yourself with these people, then their energy and beliefs will rub off on you. If you want to become the best lawyer in your area, then you need to network and associate yourself with these people. Not for the knowledge, but to try and emulate their mindset that attracts legal expertise. Trick 3. Be grateful. Gratitude is the holy grail of manifestation. It has an advantage over manifestation because it can make you happy, while manifestations tend to be short-lived. If you can master both manifestation and gratitude, then you are really a master. Because you will be manifesting what you want and already appreciative of what you have. Additionally, when you are grateful for what you have already manifested, the universe shows you more things to be grateful for and manifestation becomes easier. Lesson 7. Immersion in different fields. Immersion is arguably one of the quickest and best ways to improve your mental and emotional conditioning. It is also one of the hardest. Imagine if you spent a year learning Mandarin Chinese while simultaneously learning C programming and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It would be an immensely difficult year for you. It would also be one of the most rewarding if you were able to pull it off. This is because each of these areas will teach your brain different things. When people learn things in a classroom learning, it is usually the worst kind, rote learning, reading from a screen. This is just not a healthy way to learn things and is also very repetitive. Immersion strategies. We have already mentioned two of the best immersion strategies available. These are intensive painting and intensive writing. Both of these draw on your creative faculties so you can make them stronger. Creativity is an excellent tool that you can use in nearly any context. Once you open up your creativity just a little, you can build momentum and make innovation and the imagination as core components of your existence. But it always takes commitment and willpower at the start to immerse yourself in the creative process. Consider that Mark Zuckerberg publicly posted that Hao was going to spend a year learning Mandarin Chinese. Intelligent people are constantly looking for ways to expand their mental capabilities. Travel is one of the most common immersion strategies available. Learning how different people think and behave is excellent for contrast against your own personal values and beliefs. The starkest example of this is when people of the West go to places like India and Thailand in the East. While people in the West are goal-orientated and live in the future, the people of the East tend to live in the moment more. This has its own set of drawbacks, as they generally don't seem motivated enough in terms of self-development. Many people spend at least a year of their lives traveling. However, they tend to go the wrong way about it. They often do it near the end of their lives and try to fit in as many places as possible, like ticking boxes off a checklist. When traveling, it is best to spend longer time periods in a set location to really imbibe the culture. You can immerse yourself in anything. Try to immerse yourself in minimalism for a month. No TV, smartphone, no unhealthy food, no social media, no computer, a clean desk, a clean room, a small set of clothes, etc. Remember that 21 days is the time it takes to incorporate a habit. So if you manage to follow through with something for over 21 days, then you can carry this habit forward with far less effort than when you started out. Painful immersion practice, the best kind. One of the most useful techniques that you can learn to develop a strong mental framework is to find what you hate and do it intensely, or try to do the opposite of what you are typically used to doing. In the modern world, people are set on trying to be comfortable. The biggest fear of someone in the modern era is to lose their income so they could not afford cable television or a smartphone bill, both of which do not contribute any real value while eating precious cognitive space. An old Stoic practice is to practice being as poor as possible for a set amount of time. This might sound strange, but there is actually nothing whatsoever to fear. It is modern-day comforts that are actually a cause of much distress, as well as the constant striving for more and more and more. When you confront your fears so directly, they lose a lot of their energy. They are only so powerful when you don't look at them. This could also be called a form of shadow work in the form of directly confronting fears. You can easily discover your fears through some creative writing and asking yourself some questions. Or just write out a list of things that you would never consider doing and ask yourself why. If you hate public speaking, try doing it intensely for a month or so. As painful as it is, you would be making immense progress. Be prepared. Understand that immersion is not going to be a pleasant process, by and large. Though it will be very rewarding in the end. Can you remember how hard it was when you first had to learn the alphabet and string words together? This is what it feels like when you are learning something completely different. This is basically what immersion is. The more foreign the subject, such as Mandarin Chinese or a martial art, the greater the benefits. It will stretch your mind in ways that it is not used to being stretched. It is also worth considering that the vast amount of projects are abandoned early on. Most people finish their yearly resolutions 2 weeks into January. Before embarking on a project that could take you 3 months, be sure that you are prepared and that you are absolutely 100% certain that you want to do it. Lesson 8: Understanding Alternative Frameworks. One of the best ways to expand the mind is to read and research from a wide variety of different fields of study. In the West, we are certain that the scientific method is the best and the only one that works. But we cannot ignore the fact that our countries are sick, the planet polluted, and the people are largely addicted to technology. Suicide rates are sky high and people are coming down with different illnesses that were not there before. Our way of thinking and understanding is limited not only to our geographical location but also to our time. If Western science was to mix with traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda instead of dismissing these two systems, then more progress would be made. In any case, it can be helpful to see and understand different frameworks in order to strengthen our own minds. However, be wary of reading too much information and becoming no more than an abstract thinker without any real-world applications. As per Seneca the Stoic. Be careful, however, lest this reading of many authors and books of every sort may tend to make you discursive and unsteady. You must linger among a limited number of master thinkers, and digest their works, if you would derive ideas which shall win firm hold in your mind. Try to get a hold of a small number of different philosophies and viewpoints in order to better understand how things work instead of blindly dismissing them out of the box. Here are some alternative frameworks or philosophies that you can adopt. Take them one at a time. Astrology. The primary type of astrology stems from Indian scriptures known as the Vedas. However, astrology has its roots in all ancient cultures such as the Native Americans and shamanic cultures. Astrology is known as the noble science among spiritualists and the methodology is given great prominence, especially in India. Western and Vedic astrology are two separate fields that place emphasis on different planetary positions. The main purpose of astrology is that you can find your tendencies and understand your personality better for deeper introspection. Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the sister science of astrology and also originated in India. Ayurveda describes 3 kinds of energy: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Each person is one of 11 combinations of these elements, and based on this combination, recommendations are given with regard to exercise, diet, and meditation. Ayurveda is perfect for explaining the gaps in nutrition knowledge that Western science falls down on. Hinduism. Hinduism is unique among the religions because it is not as organized or structured as opposed to its contemporaries. There are hundreds of gods to be worshipped and Hindus get to select a god which confers particular benefits. In this way, Hinduism is actually more open and creative than traditional religions which tend to be a little dogmatic and impose a belief system on you as opposed to letting you choose. Presentism. Presentism is the idea that only the present exists and that the past and the future are illusory. This is because time is just an illusion. The opposite of presentism is known as eternalism, where all moments in time are equally real. Presentism has its roots in Buddhism, while modern scientific theory tends to support eternalism to an extent. It has recently been modernized with the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Stoicism. Stoicism is an impressive philosophy that is all about practicality, though it tends to denigrate emotions as pointless. It was founded in Athens and was practiced by Marcus Aurelius and Seneca. Other notable Stoics include George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, as well as Prussian King Frederick the Great. Modern practitioners include Nassim Taleb and Tim Ferriss. The idea behind Stoicism is about conditioning and improvement. So if you suffered through a terrible experience, it is simply fuel for further growth. Stoicism is concerned with action and has no time for endless debate, something which is needed in the modern era of information overload. Traditional Chinese medicine. Traditional Chinese medicine (TCM) is a Chinese study of health. The Chinese mindset is completely different from the East, and for this reason it can be excellent for the mind. Seeing things from an opposite point of view is good for mental expansion. This branch of medicine is based on the idea of yin and yang behind the foundational components of everything in the universe. A particular organ will have too much or not enough yin or yang energy, and treatments are provided to address these deficiencies. In TCM, energy lines known as nadis or meridians interconnect all over the body. Additionally, each organ is correlated with a particular emotion, such as grief, joy, or happiness. The concepts of nadis and meridians are also present in Indian arts such as Ayurveda. Taoism. Taoism is another Chinese subject that is shrouded in mystery. It originated from a text called the Tao Te Ching, which was written by a character called Lao Tzu. It emphasizes something called the way, which has nothing to do with a rigid structure or discipline. There are no rules, just gentle prescriptions as to how to follow the rhythms of life. Confucianism is another popular Chinese philosophy, but it is more dogmatic and has many rules and guidelines for behavior. Zen. Zen is about forgetting the self to a large degree. It is based around the practice of Zazen meditation, and Zen is an offshoot of Mahayana Buddhism. Zen cannot really be described in words, as it is claimed to be an experience as opposed to a concept. So after years of meditation, the practitioner becomes Zen. Without meditation, there is no way to achieve the state of Zen, and it is a core and sole component of the practice. Conclusion. There are a wide variety of ways to develop your mindset for greater success both personally and financially. A good place to get started would be diet, exercise, meditation, and affirmations. These are the most straightforward and effective to get the mind under control in a very tangible way. Once you have a solid grasp on these, you can consider immersion techniques and creative processes to really expand your awareness. Remember that developing a mindset will become a lifelong but thoroughly enjoyable experience. You just need to troubleshoot negative beliefs and emotional issues for a while before you can really expand.